Good day, my name is Matthew Ewell from Leading with Nice, where we want to help you inspire others, build loyalty, and get results. Now, today, man, I totally dodged a bullet today, and a lot of it was thanks to a conversation I had with Heather Dubbeldam over on the Leading with Nice interview series podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, all the places you get your podcast from. And I want to talk about practical servant leadership. So what does it actually look like to do that? And this conversation I had with Heather totally, as soon as I was in this situation, I was like, oh, dang, like this is what she's talking about, this exact moment. And the reason why I'm marrying what Heather had to say with practical servant leadership is this. So Heather is a principal of an architecture firm, and they do amazing work. They win awards. I can't go on their social media without reading about another award or accolade they've received, and all well deserved. And when I had her on the show, I really wanted to talk to her about, like, you know, how do you be a successful architect where you're winning awards? Because often, you know, these awards are for like really innovative and like forward-thinking work. But then you have clients who are just like, no, like I want what I want, and they're paying your bills. So like, how do you have that balance? And, you know, she talked a lot about community building, which I'm not going to dive too much into that in this conversation, but I'm going to pull out a few things that came out of the community building. And the first thing I want to talk about that, and this is what helped me dodge a bullet today, and I'll tell you about that in a second, is she talked about working with clients that have real synergy with your firm. And, you know, it makes so much sense, right? So how do you find clients that believe in the same values as you do? Like, what does that look like? And for me, you know, leadership is kind of a hot topic these days. People want to know more about it and how do I get it, etc. And, you know, we produce these videos that, you know, we think are topics that you might find useful, and you can glean some advice from this. And then if it matches with what you want, you'll come and talk to us more, and we might end up working together and make amazing things together. But, you know, we talked about, in my world, when she talks about like finding synergy, you build a reputation through your work, and you're going to attract people that are like that. But often you can find people that are just attracted by, you know, those bright lights. So for her, it might be the awards and accolades, might be the location or her very cool building. For me, it might be these titles that you see for the videos that, you know, encourage you to click on it. And you think, oh, this title, I'm judging the book by its cover, I want this. But it's really about finding synergy. I'll show you how. I want to talk about how it practically happened for me just today. So I had been speaking to a nonprofit about doing some board member training, doing kind of an audit on their DNA, so to speak, like where should they be going? How should they be getting there? What do they have? What tools do they have right now? What do they need to add? What are some policies they might do? And the person came back to me and said, oh, no, this is, we need this, this, and this, and then we can do it. We can go forward. But this, and this, I was like, oh my dear, like this will not be a good fit, because they really didn't want somebody to be telling them, you know, or showing them an audit and like looking and asking hard questions. What they wanted was affirmation. And like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to affirm your business if it's not doing great things. If we get in there, and I have done this where I've gone in and done an initial observation and been like, you know, to be honest, I wouldn't feel good charging you this. I would say, here's one thing that is takeaway. And I think for now, for the next 18 months, do this one thing. Let's talk about 18 months from now when you're hitting that ceiling, because you have lots of room just with this one thing. And Heather talked about that too. You know, you need to be in this place where you're like pushing or pulling clients towards something, but also giving them enough room to like be making their own decisions and communicating to you what they want. Too much of one or the other, you're not in synergy, you're not in sync, and it's not going to work. And, you know, Heather has really, you know, done a great job of building her reputation by doing her own research, her own investigation, writing blog posts, speaking. They traveled recently to Europe to investigate, the future of heating, cooling, and much more than that. It's in the podcast. You have to listen to it. She talks a lot more about that. But this is how practical servant leadership looks. It looks like that, where you're asking questions, where you're doing a bit of letting the client or the person who is maybe your report, maybe your boss, lead you a bit. But then you also come sometimes and lead for a while. I'm going to use this analogy. You might have heard it before, but like Canada geese, when they're flying in their V, they take turns of who's at the front, right? They all take times being a leader and serving the rest of their flock. And the cool thing is, those honks you hear, like honk, 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 when they're flying, that's actually the birds encouraging the person in the front. The bird in the front does not honk. It's everybody else honking to encourage them. And when I talked to Heather, I was like, man, what a great description of actual practical servant leadership, because we talk about it. And if you do any research with Greenleaf, there's a lot of theory there. But I was like, oh man, this is actually real world practical servant leadership advice. And today, it saved me a lot of time, energy, frustration for sure. Man, did I dodge a bullet. Heather, I owe you a coffee, which I know you have a coffee bar in the main floor of your building. So perfect. When we get together again, it's on me. If you are in this situation where you're like, oh man, we could really use some thinking, some training on how to identify this. If you are a nonprofit, or if you have a department or organization in your company that could use an audit on just to ask some questions and to discover some weaknesses and some strength that you can use to catapult yourself into the future, I'd love to talk to you about that. That's what communications leadership is. When you're doing leadership in communications, that's what it looks like. It's pretty fun. It's a lot of good stuff comes out of it. Just hit us up here on YouTube or wherever you're watching this. Send us a message. You can also get us at our website, leadingwithnice.com. And until next time, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.